Independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in southern Tasmania. Just let me make sure my iPad and everything looks okay while people join. Here we go. That opening there isn't particularly, the sound's working anyway. Just going to let the internet settle in and focus a bit better. I seem to be having that trouble when I first start off sometimes, that it takes a few minutes to settle down and focus. So just bear with me for a few minutes. We just won't move anything, and we'll let that focus in. It's definitely an internet issue, which my youngest, when he comes home from his job up north, is going to fix for me, he promised. So anyway, we'll see how we go. Doesn't seem to be doing it very quickly, does it? Have a look, is it focus up here? Do that because it's actually very clear and crystal clear on my computer. It's just taking a while to settle in on the PC, on the iPad. So anyway, we'll plough on, and I will trust that it will kick in eventually. It's a bit of a shame, actually. I mean, I'm the only one using the internet at the moment, so that's very weird that it's taking so long. But anyway, I won't muck around too much. On that. We will just, it seems to be getting better. Yeah, it looks like it's getting better. That's good. Okay, so today, now that we're sort of semi-focused, we're going to be looking at the Joy to You stamp set. This is for, well, it's not for a friend, but a friend said to me yesterday, good friend said to me yesterday, did I have any ideas for some quick cards? I think she was going to do a market or something like that, which is very, very brave of her. And I sat and thought, well, there was some stamping cards that I've made for my Christmas fundraising, which were pretty quick. But I thought to myself, what's quicker than a stamp set that basically has the focus being the sentiment, which is big, bold, and beautiful, and we're just teaming it with some cute designer series paper, ribbon, and bling. I mean, there's not much. Then I came into my craft room about an hour ago and sat and blankly looked at everything and thought to myself, you are such a liar, because there's nothing quick about these cards. But now that I've got the design settled, I'm sure to reproduce them in mass would be pretty quick. So let's see how we go. I'm going to make these 3 cards. So I'm using the sentiments, as I mentioned, from the Joy to You. We can see we've used the big good tidings, sending good tidings in this season of cheer on this one over here on the right, and then another couple here on the left. And I'm using, just as a real splash of bling in the designer series paper, I'm using something from my pile of shame that I hadn't actually used yet. It is the Snowflake Magic designer series paper. 6 sheets, 12 by 12 inches, 6 sheets. You get 3 different designs twice. So that's what you get in that pack. But really nice highlights. A bit of snowflakes aren't particularly Australian, I know, but they're subtle enough that they don't hit you in the face and expect to get some sort of snowfall at Christmas time. But anyway, so let's get making these 3. I've already cut a lot of the stuff already. I will put the measurements in the description because for a couple of them, especially this one, the measurements is probably important to get that right. And this one as well. So I'll pop the measurements in the description after the video is finished. So let's pop them aside for the minute. Pop them up here so I know what I'm doing. And I can follow them along. There's a bit of ribbon there, so if Deb jumps on, just remind me that 2 of the cards I'm going to need a reminder to do the ribbon, that one and that one. We'll do the silver and white one first. That's I think my favourite out of the 3. Okay, so to make the silver and white card, which is this one here, cute, I'm using a white thick card base. 8 1/4 by 5 1/2, usual size for me. I might just give that a bit of a burnish there to keep it sharp so it opens up nicely. It's a landscape card, so it's going to go with the score at the top. Now, the first thing to do is probably to grab this designer series paper. So this is one of the designs from the snowflake paper that I just showed you. What was it called? God, I've got memory of sieve. Snowflake Magic. This is starting off as a 3" by 4.5" layer. But what I'm going to do is grab my trimmer. I'm going to chop that down into 3.5" wide panels. So the 4.5 inches becomes 3 lots of 1.5 inches. So they are each 1.5 by 3 inches, those 3 little panels there, looking pretty similar to our One Fold Wonder that we've just done for my VIP people. Then I have a piece of white cardstock. I've written on the back what it is to remind myself. 3 1/8 by 4 3/4. Obviously, I've written on the other side, so we'll get rid of that. And I'm going to pop the 3 panels of silver and white onto here. Find my glue, which is hiding behind my card. I'm just going to pop these on just with some glue, snail, whatever your adhesive of choice is. And we're just leaving, all we're going to have is the very tiniest of borders around the edges of those. Right. Excess glue, of course. So I'll start with the either end ones, and then I can fit the centre one in and make sure it's the right distance. But as I say, measured these pretty carefully so that they should just have that. If you wanted to get down to it, I reckon it's technically it's a 1/16 of an inch around the edges. So the 3 panels of the Specialty Designer Series paper, just sitting straight on the panel of white. There we go. Okay, lovely shine there. Okay, this is the point. If Deb was on, Deb's obviously not on because I haven't seen my reminder. At this point, I'm going to pop some ribbon on there. I'm going to grab my double-sided tape. I have a bit of a confession to make this morning. I can't work snail adhesive. I know that sounds like a bizarre thing to say because it's the easiest thing in the world. You find where it comes out, you pop it on the paper and you pull along, don't you? But every time I start, and I haven't even got one here, I tried to do it this morning because it's nice and quick and easy, a lot quicker than glue, I think. Every time I do it, it would all get caught up inside. And this wasn't Stampin' Up adhesive, but I do have, I must say, I do have the same trouble with Stampin' Up snail. It just gets all caught up inside and nothing actually comes out. So, yeah, if you wonder why you never see me using snail, it's because I just make an awful, awful, awful mess with it and it all just gets clogged up in the top and nothing actually comes out. So it's just a waste. So there you go. If you think people who make demonstrations got it all worked out, well, you already know that I don't because I have my thing with tying bows and I have my admission about snail as well. But anyway, if I buy it, it's just a waste, even the good stuff. Okay, so if anyone has any hints as to what I'm doing wrong with my snail adhesive, please let me know. Send me a message or pop something in the comments if you've got a trick. Okay, so for this next one, I'm going to pop it onto, I'm missing a layer. That's got the ribbon on it, so there you are. I'm just looking at my original card and I realise I'm missing a layer to emboss. Okay, I'm just going to grab another piece of white cardstock. And if I've got any here, no, No scraps. Oh, there's a scrap. That's a nice scrap. I'll use that one. I need another layer that's just smaller than the card base. You should have seen me this morning. I spent far too long in bed chatting to a friend on Messenger. Not that I regret that, because it was nice to chat. But then I got up and realised I had cards to design and no time to design them. Okay, so there we have a layer of white that's an 1/8 of an inch smaller than, hopefully, an 1/8 of an inch smaller than the card base, yes. So I'm going to pop this one through our Snowflake Sky embossing folder. I'll just bring over my machine because I'm going to need it a couple of times today. Excuse me as I clunk. Oh, that ribbon that I've used, you've seen me use it a few times already this season. It's the silver and white sheer ribbon. It's one of the best ribbons I think we've got this year in the mini catalogue. And it makes the nice, as much as I am bow challenged, it makes the nicest bows. And I'll show you in a second that even I can bow with this one. Oh, sorry, I just bumped my camera. Apologies. Okay, so there's my white layer that I've popped through the beautiful Snowflake Sky embossing folder. I know a lot of my customers have bought this one. I hope you're enjoying it. I know I do. So that's all embossed. So I've got the denser snowflakes at the bottom, and they get more and more sparse, I suppose is the word you're looking for, as they work their way up. So I'm going to pop this one just straight onto my card base. This is going straight on my card base. I see a few of you have got the same challenges with tape runners as I do. Maybe we need to start a support group or something. Tape Runners Anonymous or something. Okay, so there we have on our card base, we have that embossed panel of white. Now I'm going to pop on my little silver and white ribbony layer. And again, I'm just going to use some glue. You could pop this one up on dimensionals, but I'm going to pop the sentiment on dimensionals, so I think there's enough dimension happening there. Okay, so there we are. Now for the sentiment. Now you can see with this one, I've just stamped it in. This was a grey, which I thought was a nice close comparison in Smoky Slate. It was a nice close comparison to silver. I'm tossing up whether I do this next one with silver embossing. Let's give it a go. Let's do it. I just, this morning when I was throwing the cards together, I thought, no, if this doesn't work out, I don't want to waste my time embossing it. But it seems to work out, so let's emboss it. So I'm using May Your Christmas Be Merry and Bright. We'll grab out my, here we go, Versamark ink, my little, oh, everything nearly crashed down then. Oh no, don't do that. My tower of inks and markers, my storage tower is tottering on the edge of falling down, and that's like about 10 stamp pads. I might try and fix that because that's going to be a disaster if that comes down while I'm on my live. Oh gosh. Oh. Okay, I think that's okay. It's not going to go anywhere now. Apologies about that. I just didn't think we needed the 20 ink pads to come crashing down on us while we were doing our crafting. It wouldn't be the first time. So I'm looking for now my silver embossing powder. That's gold. Don't want that one. That's clear. It's going to be the last one I find, isn't it? Oh, there it is, silver. There we go. That's my silver embossing powder. I've got my Versamark ink. I'm going to grab my embossing buddy just to give that a bit of, dry that up nice. Let's pop our Versamark ink. This is just a little scrap of white cardstock. May your Christmas be merry and bright. Looks okay. Get my gun. My heat gun's over to my left, so I'll get that in a sec. Now, important with this, for some reason, I'm not sure if it's just mine or if it's a general thing, be careful not to wibble and wobble with this stamp set because it does leave the little halo marks, or that's what I've had happen a couple of times this morning. I may have been wibbling a bit too much, but we'll see how we, that didn't do it that time, so that's the main thing. I'll just grab my heat gun. And we'll get that cooking. Speaking of cooking, Stephen's decided to cook breakfast in the background, if you can hear him. He's just got back from swimming, so here we go. Yes, I think this is going to be nice. And I just love the bold font that they've used with this one. And the fact that you may notice all of the stamps, they start off quite fine, quite thin writing at the top, and they get chunkier and thicker as they work their way down. So that's really cool as well. Not just put the lid on that, I can clean it up later with my wonderful tray. These are still available, the Stampin' Up embossing accessories. Pop that over the back so I can clean that up in a bit later. So I'm just going to let that cool down and dry and set for a second. I'm going to tie a bow. I know, I'm going to tie a bow. I am going to tie a bow. And with this beautiful ribbon, it's not as, see, it's not as painful as it could be. And it makes such a cute ribbon. It makes it sort of goes all flouncy, is the only word I can describe it, all sort of round and full. It's really, really nice. Yeah. For a non-ribbon person, that's saying something. So I'll just trim that down. I'm going to pop this onto the card once the sentiment goes on. Yeah. Okay, so that's just trim that off a bit more. So that's our bow. That's going to go on in a minute. I might die cut our sentiment now. Now I'm going to die cut this using another die set that's been a bit neglected by me of late, or since I bought it, to be honest. I'm using the Nested Essentials die set. Really, really good die set just for sentiments and things. We have 3 different sorts of sentiment boxes. We've got a banner, you can see there, that comes in 4 sizes. A nice sort of round edged rectangle, which comes in 4 sizes. And this sort of, I don't know what you call it, 6-sided shape. What's that make it? A hexagon in 4 sizes as well. So, yeah, really handy. The trouble is I sometimes forget what I've got, and I forgot that I had this. But anyway, it's really good for this one. It fits this sentiment pretty much perfectly, like it was made for it. So I'm just going to bring my machine back up. Stephen's breakfast smells good. Get rid of those two. I will need that Snowflake Sky embossing folder again in a minute. As I say, this looks like it's made for this sentiment. It sits just perfectly. There we go. Maybe up a wee bit. May your Christmas be merry and bright. Beautiful silver. There we are. Let's bring our card back in. And as I say, I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals. I know I've got some here somewhere. Don't really want to start a new one just yet. I've got a group of ladies coming here this afternoon from my team. My local team members are coming to do some kit crafting this afternoon. We usually get together once a month to do some kit crafting, and then we'll have a team meeting or an online team meeting after that. So I'm quite looking forward to that, although I do have some housework to do before I can let them in the door. There we are. And that ribbon, that beautiful ribbon that I've made, I'm going to pop that on with a glue dot. Just there. Very shiny. And just bling wise, I thought, because it's a lovely silver card, I thought I would stick to my favourite iridescent rhinestone jewels and just pop some of those around. Didn't have to have the bling sort of stand out too much because I think there's enough shininess happening already, but I did like the idea of the bling. You did say it was a bright Christmas, so that's what it is. Here we are. That's our first card. Very, very shiny, that one. It's our first Christmas card. So nice and quick there, just the 3 panels of designer series paper, wrap around a ribbon, pop it through an embossing folder. And, you know, you could, if you wanted to, as I've used there, you use the silver embossing or just the smoky slate ink. Doesn't really matter too much. If you're trying to make lots and lots quickly, then just the ink might be the way to go. But the embossing just adds that extra bit of blinginess. Okay, so that's card number 1. Pop those away. Just have a bit of a clean up. I cleaned up the craft room yesterday and got rid of put a whole lot of stuff in a box, stuff that I'm not going to use anymore. And the ladies who come here today, if they're watching, if anyone is watching, I'm going to pop the box out and you guys can rifle through it and see if there's anything you want. If not, I'll donate them or something. But yes, so that's going to be part of today's meeting. Sorry, the guys that are coming in remotely. It's probably a bit hard for you to rifle through the box, but anyway, so the guys who live here in Hobart can take what they want. Okay, second one. So let's do the second one that uses our Snowflake Designer Series paper. So this is a cute one with, this one here's got actual snowflakes on it, and the focus colour is Lost Lagoon. So we're going to do Lost Lagoon. Not a traditional Christmas colour, I don't suppose, as such. But anyway, cute nonetheless. So again, the layers of this one probably need to be measured out, obviously. So I have in normal size white thick card base. Then Lost Lagoon, I have 2 5/8 by 5, 3 1/4 by 3 1/2, and for the sentiment, 2 1/8 by 5 1/8. Don't worry, as I say, I will pop these all into the description. So we've got a little piece of white that will sit on that one, a little piece of the designer series paper that will sit on that one, and I'm going to emboss another piece of the cute of white in the cute Snowflake Sky embossing folder for this one. Now I haven't cut that to size yet because I find that lots of the embossing folder, and particularly this Starry Sky one, Snowflake Sky one, tends to shrink the paper. So I'm finding that I put a piece of cardstock through it that might be 3 by 4 or something similar, and it comes out a wee bit smaller. I don't know if that's my imagination or whether it's actually true, but I'm thinking I will emboss first and cut to size second. I know it happens with a lot of the really heavily textured embossing folders, but I did notice this morning that the piece that I put through for the original card came out a bit smaller than I thought. Anyway, there we are. No ribbon for this one, so I'll pop that aside. Okay, so I am going to cut this down. So I want it 1/4 inch smaller than the 1/4 inch smaller than the Lost Lagoon panel. So that makes it 4 3/4 by 5/8, 3/8, 2 3/8. So that one's going to fit onto that one. That's the plan anyway. Yep, we are. So that's the right size. Okay, so what we do now with this one is basically just layer things up and pop them on the card. So this one here, that is our Snowflake Sky, pops onto the long panel. Like so. And then we pop this straight onto the card base. I'm just putting it towards the left-hand side, sort of the same distance top and bottom, a little bit closer to the actual score. There we are. And the designer series paper will go on the other rectangle. And then I'm going to pop that onto the front as well. So there we are. This one could be on dimensionals if you wanted to, but I'm going to put the sentiment on dimensionals, so I thought probably we had enough dimension happening. But there we are, that one there. Isn't that gorgeous with that glow? Now, our sentiment. I have, as I mentioned, 2 5/8 by 1 5/8, and so this one would be 2 3/8 by 1 3/8. I'll grab my Lost Lagoon ink. I'm going to use the Wishing You a Very Merry Christmas for this one. straight onto that little panel. Wiggled a bit then, but it's okay. Now this one I'm going to pop on some dimensionals. Straight would be good. There we are. I love the blockiness of that. That's sort of really sort of, yeah, it's sort of nice and appeals to the mathematician in me. Bling, that's all we need for this one. I'm going to use the Blooming Pearls, which I absolutely adore. I think this is about my third pack. I'm going to use the ones that they're pretty peacock sort of coloured, but they go with the Lost Lagoon just as well. Pretty peacock and Lost Lagoon, and obviously different shades of the same colour. I'll pop a couple down here. So just into the white sort of gaps. Over here. I think that'll do me. So that's card number 2. So simple, just a series of blocks all layered up on each other, which is, you know, just get yourself a bit of a trimmer happening and you're in. Here we go. Okay, that's card number 2. That sort of might make its way as a fun fold class. I think I like that. So that sketch or a sketch class, maybe a sketch class. Okay. Oh, that was my wet wipe, and I just popped it onto my card. Oh, I always do that. Let's keep it over here where it's safe. Okay, card number 3. Now this one is probably the simplest of all 3 today. There's only really a couple of layers to worry about. Let's move everything over here. So we have, for this one, we actually have a shaded spruce card base. That's 8 1/4 by 5 1/2, usual size. Then we have a layer of this really pretty. Now this is from the Joy of Christmas Designer Series paper. It's just a series of leaves with some berries, but it's got that lovely real red highlights of the berries, so that's why I've gone for that. Then we'll be able to use our one thing with my glue. Just decides to pack it in at some stage. Come on. It's when I leave the lid off for too long, isn't it? There we go. See how that goes. Yep. Comes out with a glug. There we are. We'll pop that straight onto our shaded spruce. Ah, oh, where's Deb when I need you? Deb, I forgot the ribbon. Let's bring it off real quick. Grab some ribbon. Oh, I haven't seen Deb on today. She's abandoned me. As you guys, anyone who watches regular, you know that Deb is she yells out mid-video, don't forget the ribbon. Right. Hopefully that glue will just be tacky enough just for me to wrap that ribbon around and firm it there. Not too much there, Julian. So there we are. So crisis averted. Hopefully I've got my ribbon on. Let's pop that on back on, and no one will ever know. No one will ever know. There we are. So there's where the ribbon goes. Apologies, that went a bit blurry then, but I think it's on all, I think that's not too bad today. Now that when it finally found its feet, I think the focus hasn't been too bad, hopefully. It's because I think I'm the only one on. I did ring our provider last weekend and ask them to upgrade me to the next speed. There was some error somewhere, and then the guy said he'd get back to me, and he never has. So I might have to ring them again. Although Sammy says, my youngest says that it's not that, it's something else. As I say, he's going to come and look at it when he comes home. Okay, so again, I'm going to use this one here, the big chunky one, sending good tidings in this season of cheer. I don't know about you guys, but to me, my way of thinking, that should be sending glad tidings. Or is that just my Australian bias, maybe? Sending glad tidings, it should be. But anyway, good tidings, glad tidings. No difference. Maybe good tidings fit better because it's got 4 letters rather than 4 letters rather than. Oh no, glad's got 4 too. Yeah, I can't see. Obviously, it's a different thing. Okay, so this is just in my real red. I'm just going to ink that up, and there we go. That is absolutely gorgeous. I love the big, chunky, the way it starts off, with all of them. Starts off sort of fine at the top and then gets big and chunky at the bottom. I think that's really, really nice. And I think that's why this stamp set actually works as a focal point all on its own. So I'm going to grab now this deckled rectangle from the Deckled Rectangle dies and my cut and emboss machine. I'm going to cut this one out. Leaving a bit of there's quite a distance, I don't know if you can see it, there's quite a distance between the top of my sentiment and the edge of the rectangle, but I think that's quite nice. So as long as the same distance top and bottom, it's not a problem. It's sort of straight. Then I was going to pop the next layer through with the next sized up deckled rectangle, but it made the border too big. It was too much red, and it sort of detracted from the sentiment. So I've just cut this one to be slightly bigger than the rectangle, the deckled rectangle. This is 2 5/8 by 3 3/4. It's way too big. Okay, what are you doing, Julianne? Let's bring back the original and see. 2 3/8 it should be. By 3 3/4. The 3 3/4 is right, but it should be 2 3/8, not 5/8. I think I was getting obsessed with 5/8 because everything else seems to be 5/8 this morning. 2 3/8. Let's pop this one onto. Stephen's on the phone laughing with somebody now. Onto here. Then I'm going to pop this one on some dimensionals. I might use these edges. Get rid of one sheet. All gone for the garbage bin. Determined to keep my craft room clean after I had a big clean up yesterday. I was going to throw nothing on the floor. I was going to keep it pristine. But looking at there, I haven't definitely haven't succeeded in that. It's looking a bit back to normal. So we're going to pop this one on here like that, just in the middle. Try and keep it straight. There we are. And bling wise, I thought we will use one of my favourites that thankfully carried on from the last catalogue is the Festive Pearls, which are here somewhere. Over here by all this mess. There's my blooming pearls. Where's my Festive Pearls? Here they are. The Festive Pearls, as I say, they're in the annual catalogue. They've carried on from last year, but thankfully they've got pearls in red, which we'll use today, green, silver and gold. So very festive, as it says on the box. And we'll just pop a couple of those around our sentiment. And this little guy is done. As I say, probably the simplest. So just a few layers, a layer of paper, a layer of cardstock and a sentiment and a ribbon and you're done. So there we are. That's card number 3 with the Joy to You stamp set. Hope you like that one. As I say, I think the sentiments are not cool enough that they can basically be the focal point of the card. I know we've got some pretty specky bling and stuff happening on the others, but you know, the sentiment there, we haven't got any die cuts or we haven't got any, you know, flowers or holly or tinsel or anything. We just got the huge, you know, bold sentiment happening, which is lovely. Okay, so that's my 3 cards for you today. 3 cards in 40 minutes. That's not too bad. Probably, you know, if I hadn't forgotten a couple of layers, we could have been a bit quicker. But as you say, as I've said, get that going as a production line, and you could produce, you know, multiples of these without too much trouble at all, and you know, bling it up with some embossing powder and some ribbon, and you've got some lovely cards. Anyway, okay, thanks for joining me today, guys. If you have any questions about anything that I've mentioned today, please reach out. Keep in mind that we do have the joining offer that ends on the 31st, it's the 28th today. So for 3.5 days away, that joining offer ends. So if you were thinking of joining up to get the great 35th anniversary deal, please reach out and get that done. Don't leave it to the last minute, because you really never know how the system might glitch, or there might be lots and lots of people trying to get on at the same time. So don't leave it till the 31st would be my advice. But definitely jump on and get those savings, which, you know, probably won't see the like of for another 35 years. But anyway, thanks very much for joining me. I will catch you all again next time. Have a great weekend, and